You over there. Come over here. Yeah, you. Come over here. That's better. Hi. You're wondering where you are. Well, it's a little difficult to explain, really. I'll try my best. You know how I've mentioned in the past the void, the space between spaces, as I call it? Well, this is something similar to it. I call it the anti-void. Some call it a loading program. I prefer anti-void. This is just a big, wide open space. Here I can generate and create anything I want. Just a big, wide open space. But today, I brought you here to tell you of a little adventure I have decided to, let's say, set into motion. Right, that is part of my lines, isn't it? Yeah? Does my hair still look good? I don't know, I might need to take a break for the makeup artist to come in here and fix everything up. This adventure derives from a very specific game, which some could say has some bearing on reality, but it's very far from reality. Today I will teach you the basics of this game. First, let me create a little imagery for you. And call in the help of a friend. This is my first time creating something so realistic, so it might seem a bit off, but I'll try my best. Here we are. You may be wondering where you are, yet again. Well, where do you think? You're at a table. That's where a lot of this game is played. At a table, amongst friends and family. Today, we are joined by my brand new assistant, Dave. Say hello, Dave. Thank you, Dave. He will be here to demonstrate how this game is played. First off, you are going to need some dice. A very specific set of dice, to be precise. Specific set of dice, to be precise. Anyways, the dice are important in this game. They govern any action, really. They deem whether they succeed or they fail, whether they do have a large impact or do nothing, really. Thank you, Dave, for getting those out, by the way. First, we're going to start with the most important one. The D20. Now, the reason why it's called a D20 is because it's a 20-sided die. Thank you, Dave, for holding it up for us. That sounds weird. Anyways. It has 20 sides, and it is a dice. See? Thank you. You know, you just read my mind sometimes. Oh dear. We can't get a good look at that. Hold it up closer. There you are. As you can see, 20 sides. Thank you, Dave. The D20 is used in many, many, many roles that are important to the game, such as skill checks, saving throws, attack rolls, and so much more. Without it, you can't play the game. The rest are attack die, or random chance die, out of 100, that is. I'll explain later. Let us start with our smallest one, the D4. It only has 4 sides. It takes the form of a 3-sided pyramid, because it is the only way to have 4 sides and still roll with one number up. It's actually kind of cute. It's easy to lose, though. Yes, thank you, Dave, for showing us how it rolls. Next, we have our D6. Yes, that one, Dave. It looks like your average playing die. 6 numbers, 6 sides. Usually have 2, though, when you're playing any other game. But we only need 1. Ah, yes, this here is your 12-sided die. 12 sides. Of course, 12 numbers, of course. Usually used with very rare weapons, if not used with magic. And here is your D8. Of course, 8 sides. Catching on? Ah, yes, and these are your D10s. These ones, a bit more confusing, perhaps. Of course, all of them have 10 sides, except they're both very different. Usually get them in a set. You see, this is the part I'd say I'll explain later. This one has just your average 1 through 10 on it. Fairly bog standard, really. But the other one is very, very different. This one, 1 through 10, except it's by 10s. Instead of just a single number, it's a 1. It's a single number followed by a 0. Hence, by 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, so on, until you get to the one side that says 00 on it, which is 100. When using them together, you get 1 through 100 fairly easily. And when it comes to the 00, you don't put any other single number with it, because that's 100. 100 is the limit for these dice. Now, you could either roll both these dice together, or you could roll one single one twice, or if you have 2 single dice, roll them both at the same time. Now, as you can see, we have a 5 and we have a 00. 00 is 100, so you would not add the 5 to it because 100 is the limit, like I said before. And usually you would use this to pick out an item at random chance out of a chart of 100 either items or effects. Usually chosen by the DM, of course. So you would pick the 100th one right there. These are our dice. But you may be wondering, what do you use them for? Well, Dave here is going to grab his things, and we're going to show you. Let us start with initiative. Initiative is a roll with the D20 that you perform right as you're entering combat. It dictates the order in which you, the monsters, the other players, it dictates what order they go in. So, you might have the first turn, monster might have the second turn, because when you rolled your initiative, you had the higher number. Higher the number, the more likely you're going to go first. If 2 people roll the same number, they roll the dice again to see who has the higher number again. For example, Dave rolled a 3 earlier, but say a skeleton or something rolled another number. As you can see, it rolled a 7. So, the skeleton would go first, then Dave would. Oh well, Dave. Better luck next time. With the skeleton going first, he will take his first turn. Say he decides to strike you with his, short bow or something. Dave, just grab the D6. The D6, right there. Thank you, Dave. So the skeleton makes an attack. Dave, you're not supposed to roll that one. No, you're not supposed to. Oh yes, that's right, you're a beginner. There you go. You see, the skeleton has to first make an attack roll. How that works is you roll your 20. The higher the number, the better the roll. Now, another key factor is your target's armor class. The armor class can be anything from natural armors, say something with scales, or a hard shell, or armors that are being worn. Either way, they only go up to a certain level, depending on the armor. Say you have like a plate armor or something, that is 18. For an attack roll to be successful, you first need to look at the armor class, or at least the DM needs to look at the armor class. If your roll is equal to or above that armor class, it is a successful hit. But if it is a roll of 20, the highest you can go, it is called critical strike. You hit no matter what. Now Dave rolled a 10. So if the skeleton's armor is above that, it is a fail. If it is below that, it is a success. Now, Dave could have a chance to fix this if he has a proficiency bonus. You can sometimes add your proficiency bonus to an attack roll, depending on if you're proficient with the weapon you are using. Proficiency bonus is something we'll talk about later. With adding the proficiency bonus, you have a better chance of striking your enemy. Yeah, Dave, make a striking motion. Just do it, Dave. There you go. Thank you. It'll be worthwhile in editing, Dave. Don't worry. Now that the player or the monster has made their attack roll, they can then roll their attack dice. Just the d6 works. There you go. Now you add... No, Dave, no, what do you do? That was not necessary. Okay. Made it more complicated. Now, if you are the DM of this campaign, you will need to keep track of this and more. DM. Dungeon Master. They are the people that control the game. They also dictate what the outcome of your rolls are. They give you the epic, terrifying, fantastic, or just outright silly results of your actions. Say if you miss, you accidentally stab yourself in the foot. Or if you succeed, you successfully cleave the zombie in two. There are a couple of other things you can do with your d20. They are skill checks and saving throws. Let's start with skill checks. You're wondering, what is a skill check? Well, a skill check dictates whether you actually succeed at a certain task or fail. Those are governed by certain statistics that are on your character sheet, which you generate by rolling 4 d6. Basically, you roll 4 six-sided die. The statistics are strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. You would roll the d6 4 times for each one. But yes, I know that's a lot. But you would just roll it either 4 times and add the numbers, or just roll 4. Your choice. Then, in the player handbook, there should be a small chart that says what the modifiers for each one is. The modifiers are used in the skill checks and the saving throws. Those statistics then go into your skills. Say you're jumping over a hole in the ground. You then need to make an athletics skill check. If you fail, you fall into the hole. If you succeed, you land on the other side just fine. To make this skill check, you would need to roll your d20 and add the appropriate modifier, in this case, dexterity. Oh, sorry, Dave. you didn't make it across. You had a low dexterity score, which gave you a minus modifier, which lowered your chances quite a bit. Don't look at me, it's just random chance. Now, if you're bad with mental math like I am, a calculator is needed. Saving throws are pretty much the same, except they're used in quite different circumstances. Say, some creature shoots a blast of fire at you, and you have a chance of either getting out of the way, or taking less damage, or getting hurt in the process. You would roll your d20, add the appropriate modifier, which the DM will tell you, and you will either, well, sink or swim, really. Now that I have explained most of this game's rules and things like that, it is now time for a real game scenario. Dave will be providing one of his characters to lead as an example in this game. This is also going to be a test of your knowledge, and Dave's knowledge, of course. Dave's character is named Balazar Yulbrand. He is a dragonborn of gold descent, a level 1 rogue, with alignment of chaotic neutral. His two highest stats are dexterity and charisma, with him being proficient with dexterity and intelligence saving throws. And he's also proficient with acrobatics, intimidation, investigation, medicine, perception, and religion, with an armor class of 16 and a speed of 30. And his current health is 11. Yes, Dave, thank you. I'll show you where these different things are. Stats, skills, proficiency bonus, saving throws, the armor class. No, Dave, I'm pointing. I'm pointing. The armor class, speed, and the health. The personality traits, the equipment, and the background information on this character are not needed for this. Proficiency bonus is something that you gain when you make a character, usually starting out at 2. Your character, through the creation of it, becomes proficient with certain skills and saving throws, along with certain weapons depending on their class or race. But what does it mean to be proficient with something? Well, if you're proficient with something, that means you're good at it. And with being proficient with, in this case, skills, weapons, and yes, thank you for pointing out the skills and the saving throws as well. You add your proficiency bonus to those rolls. Now, let us begin a real game example. Dave, go grab that handbook over there. Thank you, Dave. That has our current enemy on one of the pages in the back. How the game is played is basically the DM is telling a story about this mystical fantasy world, and you are just a character in it. But you are able to change small parts of it, make small little decisions, different actions, different outcomes happen because of your actions. Whether these small changes pay off, that is all up to chance and the DM. Balazar Yulbrand decides to take a walk in the woods, as he usually does on afternoons. No one really knows why he walks in the woods. Some say that it is to meditate. Others say it is to get away from the troubles of the world. But no one knows. He wasn't really paying attention to anything, really. Just, what? What's up, Dave? What? You want him to stop and smell a flower in the woods? Oh, all right, here's your character after all. So he stops to smell a flower in the woods. Then, suddenly, a skeleton jumps out of the bushes. You see, he had been waiting the whole time, brandished his sword. You see, they are quite smart, even though their brains had rotted away. So now, a question for you all, and you, Dave. Now that you have entered combat, what do you do? Correct. It's right there on your hand, Dave. Yes, roll your d20. Go ahead. Ah! What are you doing? Don't roll on paper, you monster! There you go. It is something that I've picked up over the years. It is almost like bad luck. Taboo, almost. To roll on paper. See? Dave rolled a 20. Good job, Dave. That's why you don't roll on paper. Because Dave rolled a 20, he'll most likely be going first. Unless... Let's see what the skeleton rolls. Ah, skeleton rolled a 10. Dave will be going first. So, what does Balazar do, Dave? Good idea, Dave. Oh, and I see you've already started your roll. Ah, your d20. Very good. You're learning fast. Oh, you see, Dave has rolled a 1. Balazar Yolbrand was originally going to strike his enemy with his short sword, but it seems he has missed entirely. So, as DM, I see how well or how poorly he has rolled. I judge what the outcome could be. It seems that Balazar, rather than striking his enemy, accidentally hit a bush and then stumbled into it. Don't worry, Dave. Better luck next time. So now it is the skeleton's turn. The skeleton makes an attack roll. Dave, what's your armor class? Oh dear. Tell me, what is that number there? Oh dear, it's an 18. So the skeleton definitely did hit. Let us see what the skeleton will do. The skeleton draws his short bow. Roll a 1d6. Oh, a full 6. Plus 2. Oh dear, that is 8. When you go to write or change anything on your character sheet, use pencil. Easier to erase and write over again. Balazar Yolbrand has 11 health, and yet he takes 8 damage. Therefore, he is left with 3 health remaining. Now that the skeleton has taken his turn, it is Yolbrand's turn. Whether he will survive this, who knows? 200 years later. A 3 plus 2. Balazar is dead. I know, Dave. Because you're playing alone, no one is there to revive you. And now I'll show you a in-game example of a saving throw. Dave's character has a unique ability that comes with his draconic ancestry. It's called a breath weapon. It is a 15-foot cone of fire that he expels from his mouth. And creatures within that area must make a dexterity saving throw equal to 8 plus Balazar's constitution modifier and his bonus score, his proficiency bonus. And they take 2d6 on a fail and half as much on a win. let us say that Balazar Yulbrand scored a hit. Dave, what are you doing? Okay, that was unnecessary. So, Balazar Yulbrand uses his breath weapon attack. So now, the enemy must make a Constitution saving throw equal to 13. Interesting number. Doesn't seem very lucky to me. Will the skeleton make it out of this unscathed, or mostly unscathed? It is a dexterity modifier, so he will add his dexterity to this roll. Let's see what happens. 14 plus 2. He survives this one. Just barely. The skeleton, even though he succeeded, still takes 5 damage. This has been a real game example. I hope it was enlightening for you. Now, usually your friends are with you and they're in character, having a jolly good time. Otherwise, it'd be quite boring without them. Dave, you're really a boring person sometimes. I'm sorry, Dave, but it's true. Anyways, thank you for helping anyways. Goodbye, Dave. This concludes our lesson for today. I'll see you all back in the anti-void. This will not be the last time we see each other here. In fact, I think the next time we see each other here, I may have more information for you. Not about gameplay per se, but about story. I'll talk about our adventurers. They have unusual backstories. Some are beautiful. In turn, for their unusualness, I will tell you all about where they're from, who they are. Well, at least as much as they'll let me know. But if you do want to see this series continue, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below on your D&D stories. I would love to share them with the world. Oh yes, and don't forget to ring that bell to be notified when another video is uploaded to the channel. And I say unto thee, farewell. See you guys.